And I'm not going to take it easy on those Lakers tonight either.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Talking Hoops. It's your girl, Coach T, joined by the lovely Coach Mac and the Mr. Worldwide, Ron Briscoe. And we'll go ahead and just we'll let Ron. I'm gonna go ahead and roll out the red carpet for Ron tonight. We'll start with you, Ron, because I know based off of the group chat conversations, you have a mouthful to say. I guess that might be even be an understatement. So, Ron, if you want to go ahead and start, because I already know where you're going.
Well, first of all, hi everybody, and you just kind of just threw me out there, like hey, you in the starting lineup tonight. But anyway, yeah, Coach. Last time we spoke on the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, you
Mm-hmm.
gave me some hard questions
I did.
about about the Lakers and about Milwaukee Bucks and you know about the coaches. What were they doing? And do you think that JJ Riddick is the difference why the Lakers are playing so well, or LeBron is playing the way he is? And Mama, there goes that man at 35, 40 years old. Well, coach, it's like I told you, and I mentioned to the audience in the last podcast. Let's give
Mhm.
it like a little time. Let's give it some games, at least 20 games.
Mhm.
So it's kind of close to those at 20 game period. Now look where we at on this week's podcast. Uh LeBron looks like he's running out of gas.
Mm.
Uh, the Lakers have been on a tremendous losing streak.
Mm.
And something that I know that, by you being a diehard Laker fan and everybody around you being diehard Laker fans, that doesn't seem right
Mhm.
because you have kind of like, oh, Ron, look at LeBron, he's doing this, he's doing that. He got him and his son playing together and stuff like that. But as of late, even the great James Worthy has said they need to take a bus and stop at White Castle's and get some burgers, and they should have drove to Miami on the bus the way they. I was like, James Big Hands Worthy, the guy who played with Michael Jordan, like that was his Robin, as Michael Jordan was a Batman, like Pittman was, who they won the national championship with, was saying that about LeBron. And then Robert Horry jumped in there and had some choice and colorful words to say about him. And somebody mentioned that Kobe Bryant is turning over in his grave. And I don't like to talk about the dead like this, but they said Kobe Bryant is turning over in his grave the way the Lakers have showed up. And last night, to hit the nail on the head,
Mm.
41 points
Ooh.
Mm.
lost. And LeBron had some good games, but of course, people are saying like LeBron is playing on one leg. I don't know if you have heard this yet, but I noticed it a couple of games ago because by you coming at me talking about the Lakers. I have been paying a lot of attention to the Lakers at night. I've been watching their games on
Mhm.
TV late at night. And it looks
Mhm.
like LeBron is his leg. Something's wrong. He's not one of his legs, he's not stretching it all the way out. It looks like he's playing on one leg. And of course that affects you. You're shooting from 3-point land and he's missed a record number 21, 23, 28 3-pointers, but he made one last night.
24. Mhm.
So he broke the streak. So, hey, we talk about JJ Riddick, and the Lakers have the same record now that
Mm.
Dog Ham had at this point a year ago. And when you talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, all right, my boy over there has been playing well. As a matter of fact, LeBron and them are not in the cup round this year, but the Milwaukee Bucks are. So, coach, I'm gonna throw the ball back in your court. See what kind of nice words you're gonna say to me.
Yeah, yeah. No, I just you mentioned some great points. My concern and issue with the Lakers from even prior to the season starting is that they picked up no new players. I mean, they've added Dalton Connect, right? That was a
Mhm.
great addition. But one of the biggest problems that I have from the beginning is the roster. And we cannot expect it to ride on the back of LeBron James. And we know already that AD is not reliable. I mean,
Hmm.
we know that. That has been proven. I don't know how many more seasons that we need to go through in order to prove that fact that we cannot ride on that. But did LeBron James have a bit of a slump? Yes. This is the first time in his 22 season career that he's had the longest shooting slump. I guess sometimes it takes having it almost be 40 for that to happen. However, despite that happening, LeBron is still one of two players, and the second player being Jokic, that is currently averaging 22 plus points per game, 8 plus points rebounds per game, and 9 assists per game. So even with that being his career slump, LeBron James still is producing the numbers that we have seen him year in and year out continue to produce. The issue with the Lakers is the roster. I don't know why they made no moves in the offseason, which you guys knew just drove me up a wall. They made zero moves in the offseason. And quite frankly, they're saying that Lonzo Ball and Zach Levine and Vujicic is looking to be traded from the Bulls. And let me tell you, I just told Mr. Johnson, I said we need all three right now. We'll take all three of them right now. The biggest issue is definitely the roster and the lack of changes that they've made. They've made no changes. And as of right now, I don't see the Lakers being a playoff contender unless they make some serious moves before the trade deadline. Now,
I want
you
to add, there was talks about Brandon Ingram been thrown in that mix too, coming to the Lakers, which I think would be pretty good addition since the Pelicans isn't too much working out for
That's right.
mm.
The Pelicans look like they stink too.
him.
Just go ahead and say it. They stink. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't
plus
say it,
they've been
but
having a
you
lot of
said.
injuries, but they stink
They
too.
have. They're 5-15 right now, and
Whew.
you know, it's just speaking of the Pelicans, Coach Mac. Brandon Ingram did mention that he wants to go play for a competitive team, a team that actually has a
Well, it
chance.
ain't the Lakers.
Is that we know that, and if I'm Ingram, I wouldn't go back to a place that I previously played and didn't really. When Brandon Ingram was on the team, the Lakers they stunk then. I mean, he was a he I didn't see any progress with Brandon Ingram's game when he played with the Lakers prior to him leaving. I felt like he started playing better basketball once he left. But I think Brandon Ingram maybe has plateaued. What do you
Mhm.
guys think about his current game? I think Brandon Ingram has hit a wall, and we're seeing the best basketball that I think he's capable of playing.
Mm.
I don't think he's plateau. That's just my opinion. I think that he just needs to get himself in a rhythm and get with guys that are healthy that he can play with. When everybody on the Pelicans were playing well, along with him, the Pelicans looks pretty good. But they got a guy out here, a guy out there, Zion. Oh, he's stealing money like it's crazy.
I
He's like
mean,
a candy, like a going in a candy store and robbing it. I mean, come on, Zion. I have had hamstring problems all throughout my college career playing ball, and guess what? It never took me this long to get back on the court with a hamstring injury.
that's a
And I,
fair assessment.
I don't know what kind of hamstring injury he has. They had surgery or anything, but come on, man. I mean, look, it's been like 3 months that he's hadn't played.
Yeah,
I
and just
think
to oh,
I
sorry, go
think
ahead,
I
Coach Mac.
think I think Zion still wants to be in New York, if I'm not mistaken. Did he
Mm.
part
Oh,
ways with
don't we?
yeah. I think it was it last week or week before last when we were talking about him parting ways with his agent, I believe.
Mhm.
So obviously the deal was that once he got drafted, he wanted to be with the Knicks, and that never happened. There was something going on with the contract as far as the terms. That there was an agreement where he could possibly go, but it didn't work out that way. So I just think In addition to injuries, Zion probably wants to be elsewhere.
He
Mm,
probably does. He's holding out. You're right. He's stealing money. Yeah,
mm.
Pretty
So
much.
you guys are saying he's pulling a Kawhi.
Oh,
of
big
course,
time.
of course.
Oh, now just to throw some numbers out there, Zion Williamson has okay. He's played in a total of 190 of a possible 401 regular season games since being drafted.
That
Wow.
that that right there is a statement that tells you that he's stealing money.
High school played more games than that.
Yeah.
Thank you. He's stealing money big time. How can you pay that guy that much money and he's only played not even a third of in the NBA? That's
No.
crazy.
And the thing is, here's the thing. His contract is over $200 million if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
crazy. That's
He's
crazy.
only in year 2 of a 5-year deal that he signed. So, my question is, if you're the Pelicans, because I don't see another franchise picking him up right off the bat. I don't see anyone throwing willing to take that chance because he hasn't done enough in the league to prove that he is worthy of somebody eating however much is left of his contract to buy him out.
Mhm.
I just don't see that happening.
I haven't heard anybody like you say yelling or screaming that hey we want Zion Williamson we want him. I haven't heard that. Now Coach Mac comes up with a good, she's been shaking the bushes a little bit and listening. And with the Knicks, I'm gonna have to check into that and see what's going on. That's my first with the Knicks, but I know it's something for him to be not wanting to play for the Pelicans.
Mhm.
And then we had the big story earlier this summer about him. I lost all this weight. I'm in shape. I'm
Mhm.
not hanging out with the strippers or anything like that. So it looked like he wanted to. He wanted to get his act together. Now, Coach, before we go on, I wanted to go ahead and hit up on you about Ball and Zach with the
Mhm.
Chicago Bulls.
Mhm.
Those two guys have been injured
I
with the
know.
Bulls. So why would the Lakers want to take them right now when they on the injured list?
Ron, because we need a miracle right now. We
That
we
would
need
be
a
a
mi-
miracle. That
we
would be a
need
miracle.
we need a miracle. And let me tell you, we've seen stranger things happen. And the thing about Zach Levine, though, Zach Levine has been playing some pretty decent basketball right now. The
Well,
question is, can he maintain that level of play throughout an entire season?
yeah, that's a
And he's
that is
still
a good question.
very young. Mind
Hmm.
you, both players are very young players.
Yes, yes, that's true. That's true. But the other question, Coach, is this, Coach Jones,
What you got
is
for me, Ron?
the LeBron James effect. LeBron James
Ooh.
over there. How did JJ Riddick get with the Lakers? LeBron James and his podcast. Here you got his son that comes on that wasn't supposed to be drafted, but he got drafted in the second round, 55th draft, and he signs with the Lakers, get his $7 million, and he plays. They hoop and hollering about that. Ticket sales for LeBron James Jr. is going out, and then he has that. Then he also is bullying the owner over there.
Bullying? That's strong choice of words, Ron.
Let me finish. Before that, he was down in Miami. He was trying to, gangster Pat Riley about, hey, Pat, this is the way we're going to do things. Pat said, look, we ain't playing that way. I'm going to send you back to Cleveland, where he came from, and he was doing the same thing in Cleveland before he left to go to Miami. So LeBron James, what's he doing? He's trying to be, a gangster down in LA, trying to run everything. And then for that reason, there's a lot of people that don't even want to go to LA. They could have had DeRozan over there, but DeRozan said, I ain't going to LA. I'm going to Sacramento, even though I'm an LA boy, you know? So what's going on, coach? Is it LeBron James effect? Educate me, please.
Ron, I do have to say that um playing with a player like that brings that level of media attention constantly. Everything is under a microscope of
Oh,
scrutiny,
okay.
and you're being evaluated on a different level when you're playing with LeBron. I mean, and we've heard players talk about this in interviews, and the expectation is higher. I mean, Iman Shumpert has done interviews speaking to this as playing with LeBron. I think what happens is LeBron requires the ball a lot. He becomes ball dominant. A lot of the offense with any team that he's a part of, the ball is being ran through LeBron. And I think
Mhm.
that for a lot of players, that's hard to adjust to.
Mhm.
It's hard to find a way to maintain your own identity and the style of player you are while still being able to play to the level that LeBron plays to in terms of his style of play and the way that he wants the offense ran. And it's a hard thing for a coach to say, no, we're not going to play to my best player's capabilities and take advantage of that. I mean, I think the Bucks are a great example of this when Dame came to play with Giannis, and Dame being a superstar player himself in Portland and having to adjust. And last season, Dame stunk it up. I mean, he just absolutely it was horrible, right? His shooting percentage went down, his efficiency went down, but now we're starting to see in the last 11 games they've been 9-2 after
Yeah.
starting off 2-8. And so I think Dame is starting to find a way, but for a lot of players with LeBron soon to be on his way out, I can understand them not wanting to make that sacrifice and that level of adjustment in their game just for a season or two, you
Mhm.
know. So
Mhm.
I definitely think that there's an effect. And Ron, how it goes when you're the best player in the world, when you say jump, the people around you want to know how high. And I think that
Oh my goodness.
and I think everybody doesn't want to deal with that, and that's fair. That's fair. I think Kyrie choosing to leave, not wanting to deal with that was a fair decision for Kyrie to make. I mean, even though I think they could have won another championship had he stayed that following year, but that effect of not wanting to be a part of that, I can understand from a player's perspective of not wanting to adjust your entire game to accommodate somebody who's on their way out.
So that means that okay, Giannis, he's playing well. He's a ball dominant guy, just like LeBron.
Mhm.
And let's look at Luca.
Mhm.
He's a ball dominant guy, but Luca's been turning it up since he got back from his injury. SGA has been turning it up. He's a ball dominant guy, but he gets things done. Okay. Uh, of course, KD, he's a ball dominant guy, but he just got injured, so he won't be playing tonight against the Pels.
Mm,
And
KD, mm,
what?
about being ball dominant. I don't know. I think him going to go join the Warriors when he did changed his game and his ability to be able to play off the ball compared to his earlier years with Oklahoma.
Okay, okay. Well, let's talk. Let's add Steph Curry in there. He's a ball dominant guy. So all those other guys are ball dominant guys. Okay,
Hmm.
even the Joker. Okay, and they all got guys that want to go play with them.
Hmm.
So what's the problem with LBJ? I heard what you said, but I think there's a problem there. I think,
You
in
know,
my opinion, I think there's a problem there with LBJ.
Ron, every guy that you just named off, none of them are being titled or have been titled the best player in the world like LeBron has. So I think we can't compare where people don't, you can't compete where you don't compare.
So you
So I
saying
think,
LeBron's number one, Jordan's number two, Kobe's number three, and who else?
those are definitely the top three, Mount Rushmore.
So LeBron's number one in your book.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, so I disagree, but hey, that's what we do. We agree to disagree.
Of
I'm
course.
going to always pick MJ. All right,
That's fair. That's
you
fair.
know, you know, and
Coach,
Kobe.
Right.
I
But
like Kobe number two, and I like LeBron number three. But hey, that's me.
Ron, to your point, because I completely understand and was thinking what you were thinking, it's amazing how all these other teams seem to have more success than the Lakers do, even though you have players that are ball dominant. So
That's right.
again, what's the issue with LeBron? Even though he may be considered as the best player in the world to some, not to all, why is it that your team is not as productive as it should be?
That's what I'm talking about. Coach Mack, that's what I'm talking about. Coach Johnson, you understand?
No, I understand, Ron. I'm not saying I don't understand. I understand. I think that there's also there's also a piece there because we've yet to hear any of his former teammates come out and speak to that though.
Yet.
They
Oh,
never
you know, if they talk, you know what's happening. They
they never
gone.
but
You know,
even
hey,
the ones
Durant told us if you talk, if you say something, LeBron's gonna pull the chair off on them of you, and you won't be able to say it. I had to stutter and try to get it right. I needed to slow down, but
But
he's gonna pull the chair,
it
make you
speaks for
fall
the
on your
players
behind.
not wanting to come though. I mean, it speaks for itself for players not wanting to come to play with him. So they don't have to say it, it shows.
It shows.
I agree, but
I know you in the now. I know you in the now. Don't get me wrong. I know you
Ron,
in the.
all we could do
I
is
know you're a
speculate.
diehard, a Laker fanatic, but hey,
All we could do is
I want to
speculate.
move on. I want to move on from LeBron James talking to LA Lakers myself.
Yeah, that's fine. I just knew you. I knew you had a few things you wanted to get off your chest. So I said, we'll go ahead and start the show off for Ron with that because I knew it was coming.
I
But
mean, it needed to come because look, I mean, when you lose by 41 points,
no, that's
I mean,
terrible. It's horrible.
what Laker legend is going to say like, oh man, we ain't never lost by 41 points. You know, Magic Johnson and James Worthy and all those other guys, even Michael Thompson was like, this is really bad. Uh, can I leave? Can I leave? I don't want to do the. I don't want to do the rest of the analysts on the TV tonight. Can I leave? The dude was ready to leave. He said, "This is pitiful. They just walking around. They're not giving any effort.
It was horrible.
It was horrible."
It was absolutely horrible. My 7-year-old was so upset that he had to get up from the couch and said he couldn't watch it anymore. So
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness! You know it's bad when a 7-year-old said that. He probably went on social media and probably blasted the Lakers.
he was so upset by the performance and I completely agree. I mean, I it was absolutely horrendous to watch. But speaking of a strong start and not looking so good right now, I want to talk about the Warriors who had a fiery start and has now dropped down to 6. They're hanging in there. They're in the
Mhm.
6th spot, but what is going on over there? And again, all speculation with Kerr and the way that Steph Curry is being played at critical points in the game. It seems like at certain points in the game, you would think that this is a time when Steph Curry needs to get back in the game.
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
down the lead or they're chipping away at the lead, and we see Steph Curry on the bench not coming in until the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. I definitely think there's something happening there, but unsure of what it is. What do you guys think about the decline in the Warriors' performance and them potentially being a play-in team?
Ron, you
Go
want to
ahead.
go first?
No, no, Coach, you go ahead, man. I talked enough. I'm out of wind.
I was trying to figure that part out as far as Kerr's philosophy of his timing of everything because it didn't make sense. And it's bad enough that you already have people talking about his coaching tactics anyway.
Hmm.
So for him to not have the best player on the team, who is your franchise player, not in the game during critical times, it doesn't make sense at all. I don't care what way you think of it. It just doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, you know, I think he knows that Steph is getting a little long in the tooth, you know, and
Hmm.
he's trying to save his legs. It's a long season, 82 games. Of course, LeBron said he wanted to play 82, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. He wants to do what Michael Jordan did. And that's when it comes to why I rate Michael Jordan number one over LeBron because, I mean, LeBron ain't going to play 82 games. Mike did. But anyway,
Mike
Steph,
also wasn't 40, but go ahead.
you better look that up, girl. Anyway, uh, Steph is getting, like I said, long in the tooth, and I think Curtis is trying to rest him
Hmm.
so that he can be effective when they really need him. It's not like they the teams are running away with the Warriors. The Warriors are playing a lot better than the Lakers and most teams in the league on the West Side. But that's what I think it is. I think he's just trying to rest him until make sure his legs can hold out because they've been playing a whole lot of games back to back on the road here as of late and in Golden State.
You know, that's fair. I feel like rest me in the first quarter, rest me in the second quarter. Don't rest me in the fourth quarter when the game is on the line and it's crunch time. And now I'm coming in and now you guys need me to be the hero, and
Mm.
make some heroic shots. I'm
So
the
when
franchise
they paying
player.
him what? What they paying him? But how much they paying him a year?
A whole lot.
Thank you. That's why. That's why. He better go. He better put the cape on when they call for it. Shoot.
That
He can
is,
do it.
Yeah, you want those checks to stop coming? Put that
yeah.
cape on. Let's roll.
Now, I think, Ron, we have a comment from Mr. Johnson. He said, Ron, I thought you were done with LeBron for the night.
Oh, I am. But hey, every once in a while, your daughter brings up some valid points that I have to hit on. So
Oh, that is hilarious.
if she stops, I'll stop,
Now,
and she
Shut
ain't
it
question.
gonna
up.
stop. She ain't gonna stop.
I'll
She's
Ron,
competitive.
I'll never stop.
Never.
You
Now,
too competitive.
Coach Mac, the
Never. That'll never
commentary.
happen. You can
Now,
forget that one.
speaking of teams moving around, the East has been pretty steady in their top two, leading the conference with the Cavaliers still in first place and Donovan Mitchell putting on quite the performance as the two went head to head, the Celtics versus the Cavs, and the Celtics missing Jaylen Brown, unable to close the game out against the Cavs. The Cavs were trailing. Donovan Mitchell scored 18 to 20 points in the fourth quarter alone, willing
Amazing
his team to a win. Now, my question for you all, as we know, Ron, like you like to say, there's been a little scuttlebug,
game. Hmm.
is
Exactly right.
can Jason Tatum lead his team, or will he always need the help of Jaylen Brown in order to win big games like the one that they played against the Cavs?
Well, I think that Tatum can lead his team without Jalen Brown, but he needs the help of Drew. I really
Mm,
think he does. And he also needs a couple of other guys on his team to help him out. But Tatum has no problem in leading the Boston Celtics. He's done it time and time again where he has taken over when Brown's got in foul trouble or he's been injured. So, yes. My answer is yes. I think he can.
okay, Coach Mack?
Yeah, I think he needs the help. Uh, I just don't see him being able to do it alone. Not now, at least.
Not
Maybe in a couple of years, but not right now.
okay. He needs some time in development. Now, Ron, last season you made a comment that Jason Tatum was not the best player on the Celtics. I want to know what are your sentiments currently about the Celtics and who's the best player on the team?
Well, I still think Jalen Brown is. I really do.
Mm. Ooh, you
Uh,
gonna ruffle some feathers, Ron, for all the St. Louis people watching.
hey, man, I don't know. I mean, look, St. Louis is my city, man. I hung out there many a times. I know a lot of people from St. Louis. So, uh, hey, I'm just telling it like it is. My opinion of Jalen Brown is more athletic and than Tatum. Tatum
Mm,
is a good player. He can shoot the ball. He can put the ball on the floor. But the difference that I think that Brown has is I think he's tougher.
mm.
I can see that.
Well,
I can see that.
I think he's more scrappier.
He has that
Yeah.
grit to him.
I think he goes at it a little bit harder than Tatum. I think Tatum, I don't think he's real soft, but he's just not tough enough like Brown. I
So
You
mean,
what
think
you
he's
saying is he a pretty boy. Is that what you're trying to say? Tatum is a
I'm
pretty
not
boy.
saying you said he's a pretty boy. I'm just saying he's not
It sounds like you trying to say he's a light skinned pretty boy.
Coach Mack? I think he said he too Hollywood. Is what he's saying.
I
I
think
ain't saying
so.
y'all putting words in my mouth. Please,
If
Words.
As the streets to say, he too light skinned. He a light skinned pretty boy.
No,
You too
it ain't
pretty.
got nothing to do with got nothing to do with it. No, 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 no. I'm not
It's
even
okay.
going. I'm just saying he's just not as tough. Can I
He's
say
not as
he's
tough. Okay.
Okay.
You think
okay?
Jalen has more grit to him?
It ain't got nothing to do with no pretty boy. Ain't got nothing to do with whatever Coach Johnson said. He just not tough. Let's put my words, you know, in the books so that way I don't use y'all's words.
Okay, that's fair. Now, I do have to bring this up only because they have a former MVP candidate on their team, and I do believe he won MVP for a year, but the 76ers currently second to last on the East, 5-15. They paid big money for Paul George. Paul George left the Clippers. For those of you that don't know, Paul George, Pandemic P, as I like to call him, decided to leave the Clippers because he couldn't get a 5-year deal and went and the Clippers were only offering a 4-year deal. Proceeded to go to the 76ers, and currently they are 5-15, and not many games being played for either Joel Embiid or Paul George due to injuries. Supposedly, they were selling 76er tickets for $1. Somebody help me understand what's going on over there with the 76ers. I mean, we're talking about Tyrese Maxey. This is not a scrub squad that they have. Is it something more that we're not understanding, or are they just having a terrible start to their season?
I think they should ruffle some feathers and bring in some G League players and see how that turn out.
Mm, mm,
That's a good one, Coach. It's a really good one.
Because they hungry.
they
Hmm.
are. That's a great point, Ron.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say, who you talking about?
Who?
Who'd you say?
Who?
Who? Yeah, who? He said Paul George. Who is that? MB? Who is that? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know those guys.
They
You know
build
why?
brick
Because they're
houses.
not playing. That's why I don't know.
Mm,
So I don't have no comments. So I don't know.
Fair
that's
enough.
and Angel, our amazing producer behind the glass, who is happens to be a Sixers fan, said Sixers are a bust and broke. And that right there is a horrible combination.
That's why I don't know
That's fair.
them.
That's
Who you
fair.
talking about? I don't know who you talking about. I'm going to talk about somebody in the NBA that's playing well. I'm going to talk about a good team like, the Nuggets or the Jazz or somebody like that. Or,
So,
Okay.
question to you guys. Do you think the 76ers was a big disappointment or was this expected?
Mm,
ooh, that's a great question,
that
Coach
is
Klein.
a great question.
That's a great question. It's a big disappointment. It wasn't expected. It's a big disappointment. In my opinion, it's a big disappointment. What
Yeah.
do you have to say, Coach T?
I have to agree with you, Ron. I don't think I wouldn't have expected this at all. I think, Tyrese Maxey coming off of a great season last season. Joel Embiid, we know he didn't play in the Olympics that much, but
Mm-hmm.
when he did play, he had some pretty decent games.
Mm-hmm.
And Paul George, I thought he did decently okay at the Clippers last season. So for the combination of the three of them, and then them not playing, I think I couldn't I wouldn't have expected this at all. It's actually a really big disappointment when you look at their roster and then you look at the outcome of the start of the season for them.
Exactly.
I don't think it aligns. The roster doesn't align with their record.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
It's
Not at
too much
all.
money they stealing over there in Philly.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Coach Mac, I think we need to go get our shoes ready because I think it's enough money to go around. I know we could at least give a good 5 minutes off the bench.
Hey, I
Y'all
got
can do
you.
more than that with
I'm
those
there.
guys.
Right.
Y'all
At
may
least
even y'all may even
no.
get a court over there.
That is fair. Now, speaking of injuries, Chris Middleton with the Milwaukee Bucks will be making his debut return on Friday. And what a great time for Chris
Hmm.
Middleton to join back with the Bucks, as we know he's been a key player for them for the past few seasons. What I am curious about, given that Chris Middleton hasn't played since the start of last season, how do you all think that he will transition as the Bucks are now kind of finding their way a little bit as they're 9-2 over the last 11 games?
I think he's a professional. He's been in the league long enough. He knows what it takes to get himself back in shape. He's a proven pro. He's a guy that can adapt to what his team needs, and it's just going to take a little time. But when you're a professional like that and you've been in the league that long, dang, you just can't come in and fall on your face.
No.
Or they send you down to the G League with Coach Mac and the babies. But look, I think he's a proven professional. He's going to come in and he's going to get back in shape and he's going to adapt. And we're going to see what the way Doc Rivers is going to coach this team because it looks like the team is slowly turning itself around. Just needed a little time, and they're looking pretty good. And I'm not going to be talking bad about the Milwaukee Bucks and my man Doc.
That's fair, Coach Mac.
We'll see. Now, you can't. I can't put my money on the line with some of these players. I would hope that he will come in and, as Ron say, be the professional that he is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. I mean, that whole team. They have a whole weird dynamic anyway. So,
Mm-hmm. Now, I think speaking of the Bucks, and I wanted to get you guys' feedback on this. Gilbert Arenas made some comments speaking about Damian Lillard and Giannis and the way that Damian Lillard can be more effective. The question was that Gilbert Arenas was presented is, do you think Damian Lillard makes the players around him better? And Gilbert Arenas said it doesn't come across that way. It almost comes across that he is selfish simply because he hasn't figured out how to get in rhythm and piggyback off of Giannis. Gilbert Arenas made a comment that when he played with the Wizards, he would let Karan Butler and I cannot think of the other player's name that played on that team when they played with the
Bill, Bill,
Wizards.
Bill. Didn't Bill play with Gil Arenas, or was
I
it
don't,
John Wall?
I don't know if Bill was there yet
Okay.
with Karan Butler. But when they played, he said he made a comment that he would let them start the game off, being aggressive, doing their thing, getting to the basket, getting fouls. And then once they were in the bonus or they were assumed to be in the penalty, that's when he would then be more aggressive because he played with the mentality of, okay, well, now you can't touch me. If you do, I'm
hmm
going to the free throw line. And that's how I'm going to catch my rhythm. And he suggested that for Damian Lillard to piggyback off of Giannis, let Giannis start the game off doing his thing, getting in rhythm, getting in motion, getting some fouls drawn. And then from there, you can turn around and be more aggressive rather than jumping out the gate with the first six shots or, trying to, shot for shot with Giannis. And I wanted to see what you guys thought about that. And is that something that maybe you guys think would be helpful for Damian Lillard?
I mean, what Gilbert is saying, I can see, but you also have to consider the type of player that he is. Everybody's not able to easily adapt to other players. You have some players that just literally one track mind. This is what they can do. This is what they're great at. This is all that they know. I mean, I think what he's saying is a good strategy for sure. Obviously, these are other ways, creative ways that you can be productive and score. But the question is, does that fit Dame's style? Is this what Dame is good at? So you can't just really say that this would be effective for Dame because that just may not be his style. So it's kind of hard to say, but I do understand the point that he's trying to make.
I ditto that, Coach Mac. Gilbert Arenas, he's something else. Uh, I know Gilbert well, man. But anyway, give us that type of player. very smart. He's a strategy type guy, and he likes to go in and like, y'all go ahead and do your thing. Don't worry about
Mhm.
me. And in the end, he's gonna come up and do his thing. And Gibbert has always done his thing. He's a tremendous athlete. He can jump out of the gym and he can score.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what, like Coach Mike said, yeah, that works for Gilbert, but it don't work for everybody. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So hey,
Gilbert is great unless you owe him some money. Now,
oh, he gamble too. He likes to shoot dice. Well, around. Gilbert is something. He's a hustler. I got to give to him. He's a Hollywood, California guy.
that is funny. Now, real quick, before I jump, because we got to get on Coach Mac's team next. And Mama Davis has joined the show and she said, Dame is like, nah, get somebody else to do it. Now,
Right.
I have a I have a question for you both. Because Coach Mack, you mentioned some players are just one track minded. Do you think Damian Lillard is a one track minded player?
I'm starting to think that yes. Since he's
Mm,
been with the Bucks, it's like I don't know. I have not seen much progress with him as far
mm.
as what I expected for him to be. But it's he's only good at this. This is what he can do, and it's like that's what he's sticking with.
Ron?
I feel the same way, Coach.
Mm.
Out of my mouth, that's what he's good at. It's just like him being in that baby carriage with those dimes and the big necklace around his neck. That's what he does well.
Oh man. Okay. Well, that is an interesting take. I guess that is something that we will keep an eye on throughout the season and we will touch back on here. Let's give him a few more games and with Chris Middleton coming back, let's see because again, he'll have to make another adjustment. As we know, Chris Middleton was option number 2 when he was playing with Giannis.
That's
So
right.
now, what is that going to look like with Chris Middleton coming back? Let's say he comes back at the top of his game and in full health. What is that going to look like and how is that going to impact Dame? So we will definitely be keeping an eye on that throughout the season. But I can't let anybody's team off the hook off the panel. They gave me my flack about the Lakers. We talked about Ron's Pelicans. We talked about Angels 76ers and now Coach Mack and her Mavericks and the Klay Thompson trade. Now,
Oh man,
the
Clay.
Mavericks traded away.
Say that again, Coach Mac.
Clay practically done disappeared. I don't know where Clay is. Captain Clay done flew off somewhere else.
Oh no, we need to send out the search party, huh?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Oh
we gotta
yes.
find Clay. Clay gone somewhere. I don't know where he is,
Ah,
but it ain't with us.
well, I came across some interesting numbers. As we know, Klay Thompson was traded in as Tim Hardaway Jr. was traded out. And
Hmm.
as of right now, Klay Thompson has hit his career low in
Hmm.
shooting average at just averaging 38%. 38% shooting on average, while Tim Hardaway Jr. is averaging quite similar numbers, but with higher efficiency. And they were really hoping to get more offensive output from Clay, which we have not seen. Coach Mack, do we think that this is where the road, the crossroads for Clay? Have we hit the crossroads?
I think Clay need to go through a whole hypnosis type deal because something going on up there. They
That's pretty
they need to
good.
try some type of psychology because Clay and his whole mental state it ain't there. We done moved from literally the West Coast to basically Midwest or to the West,
Hmm.
Southwest. I'm sorry. Totally different team, totally different dynamic. I mean, what's the problem, Clay? So, and it's not like you not getting the ball, so that you can scratch that off the list. I mean, like we talking about wide open shots though that you get. So, help me to understand what is going on with this shooting percentage because I can't figure it out.
I
Ron.
can't figure it out either. Hey, of course that injury that Clay had, hey,
Hmm.
it may be still bothering him. And
Could
For a
be.
shooter, you got to have your legs. And we have never seen Clay like this. And of course, having Luca there and having PJ there and having Kyrie there, having like
Lively.
you know
Everybody.
Some great
everybody else,
players.
everybody else is playing up to their abilities. But hey, Clay, I think his leg is still bothering. I don't think he's well
Mm.
yet. And
I'm gonna go with that because that's all I got.
I don't
yeah,
know. I mean, he looks like he's running up and down the court
He
just
do. He
fine.
does. He does. I was trying to,
uh,
I was trying to go with what I did, but
but there's a certain way you gotta, when you used to shooting. Of course, sometimes when you set those legs and you feel that little pain in there when you're getting ready to let it go, it don't feel good. That shot's not gonna go in, and your mental state is not gonna be the same. So I think it's something to do with his leg. But hey, I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but we're gonna see. It's gonna all come out in the wash.
Now, we've had some interesting comments come through. Clay should have played with Bron. Now, I think if Clay was already on the edge of not being in a good mental state, going down the Lakers was mm-mm, mm-mm.
move.
You
His
know,
dad said that. His dad said nope. He shouldn't have came to LA.
and now, and also a comment that them dudes is old now and the game has changed.
That's true too. That's true. That's a
I can
lot. A lot of what's going on is the age factor, and a lot of them just don't want to let it go. But hey, I've seen several guys as of late that I know, that say they hanging it up. Paul Millsap, 16 years. He said, "I'm out of here. Get out of the game, man. Y'all done made y'all money."
Well, no, Ron, hold on, because I have to contest to that. As John
Okay.
Morant recently came out and said that he is done dunking. He
Yep.
said he gets knocked out of the air too much and he is done with injuries from dunking. He said he promises he is trying to dunk as least as possible. I think there's a bigger issue at play here.
Hmm.
And I think
And what is that?
it's the culture of the NBA. And I mean, let's scale back to the All-Star game, right? You know, how horrible the All-Star game was. And we saw how they played. They played like this fear of injury. And we started off the season. How many players were injured from young to the older ones? I mean, the list was outrageous of the amount of players that started off the season injured. Not players, star players. Okay, we're talking about players that will be selected in All-Stars and so forth. I think the issue here, and Matt Barnes was just speaking about this, is that there is an increased overtraining taking place. And another part of that Tracy McGrady made a comment saying that players are so focused on having a bag, right? Who can cross
Yeah.
over, snatch back, do all of the highlight reel, as I like to call it. They're playing highlight reel basketball.
Hmm.
Everybody wants to do something that's going to go viral. I feel like we're seeing the effects of highlight and social media affecting the quality of NBA. Tracy McGrady made a great point. Him and Kevin Garnett said, "What happened to being able to make a move and do something in two dribbles? And if you were
That's
Hmm.
true.
able to do that, if you were able to show that you can make a move or make a basket with two dribbles or less, you you were a tough player. Now
Mm.
everybody's dancing out there. Everybody wants a highlight, a viral, over dribbling. And I really just think the culture, we're seeing an impact on the culture
So
You're
what you're
exactly
saying
right, Coach.
is they soft.
as butter. Okay,
Mm.
softer than cotton.
Not only that, I just think that this is, like you said, Coach, this is the new culture. Social media has taken over to where the young people just say, "Oh man, did you see that?" And people just talking about it, going viral. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, you didn't have that social media talk. You didn't see all of that. You just had guys that came out and did what they had to do. Then now it's Sports Center. You know, oh, this is Sports Center top 10. That's what they're looking for, and that's why they're going through all of this. But you do have some like Luca
Hmm.
who doesn't dance all the time. The Joker doesn't dance all the time. He's just efficient and effective
Hmm.
with his game. And you have some people like that.
Yeah.
So like you said, no more than three dribbles, you dynamite.
You
But
dynamite.
what's interesting, and Ron, this is kind of piggyback off of what you were just saying in regards to the player, but it's usually, well, it has appeared to be that the European players are the one that's more professional and more, I guess you can say, player style than the
Right,
Americans are.
right. Because women doesn't be doing all that. Women is been killing people lately.
They're
And
focused.
man,
They play more
he's
fundamental.
Yep.
right, right. And they ain't worried about all that, going through your legs behind your back and running three and four times up and down the court, with the ball until you score. They ain't worried about all that. They just worried about, like, let me get the ball in the basket.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And that's the basketball I appreciate. That's the type of
Hmm.
basketball. May call me old school, but that all I don't want to see you dribble the ball 20 times. I don't. Um,
That's why the WNBA is so effective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we had a comment come in from Brandon saying, I watched the Lakers get blown by 40 and LeBron high fiving and grinning with players that just blew their doors off. It was never like that back in the day. Now,
Oh no.
I
Way
Come
will
on,
personal.
say,
LeBron. You can't be smiling and laughing, man. I'd be mad and I'd be looking at him like, y'all just beat us by 41 and I'm gonna go over there and give you a high five. Come on, man.
I mean, having good
Have more pride
sportsmanship
than that.
having good sportsmanship is the only reason why why some games I even go shake a hand, because sometimes I just you ready to go flip the scores table over after losing a bad game like that. So I think it's just it is a culture shift that we're
Yeah,
seeing. It
Mm.
is. It is. And however, I will say, not shaking hands though led Isaiah Thomas to never making the Olympic team, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
yeah.
What I will say is jumping over to college basketball world, because it has
Oof.
just been, speaking of culture, the one thing about the portal that has impacted college basketball is we are seeing the talent finally being diversified across different leagues and different teams in college for the men and women's. And you're
It's been
seeing.
outstanding.
Oh, I've loved to see it. I mean, I know we've talked on the show about the woes of the transfer portal, right? We've talked about the woes of having NIL money and these NIL deals and what schools can offer. But what we are seeing is the upside of that. And that is the talent being diversified. It's not just the same for, UConn, Baylor, Notre Dame running teams out of the gym. We're UCLA, USC, TCU. Let me talk about TCU, because TCU almost didn't even have a program at the end of
Mm.
last season. They had
Right?
True.
they had to forfeit a couple games due to injuries. They had so many injuries that TCU opened up tryouts in the middle of season to any regular enrolled student that had any former basketball experience to come out and try out.
They
And
called you
now
and Coach Mac, right?
We was on that list.
yeah.
And the G babies were on there too, huh?
We was on that list. We were ready. I'm ready, coach.
Listen, Ron, I have the shoes in the trunk already. Okay, I
I
kept the
know it.
shoes in the
That's why I
trunk.
said y'all was on that list.
Yeah, absolutely. And now TCU, Haley Van Leaf. I mean, what a
Ooh, what a
performance
difference.
she has been putting on since she has left LSU. And I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that, as they are currently 9-0, and they gave Notre Dame their first loss of the season.
That's big.
Huge.
With Hannah on that. Oh, Hannah is
And
Lord.
Olivia. Yeah.
And Olivia. Both they dynamic. But coach, TCU is a whole different team.
Hmm.
Hannah, I mean Van Lien,
Haley.
definitely different person as she left LSU. I don't know what the problem was at LSU, if it was the coach, if it was the players. But the switch just turned different when she got to TCU because what's wrong? I said something funny.
Coach
Go
Max.
ahead.
Coach,
I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you finish what you got to say, Run. Then I'm gonna go and
Coach Max
stay
Okay,
gonna
on.
animate it.
okay, because when she was at Louisville, she was doing the same thing she's doing now at TCU. And when she got to LSU, man, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was an Angel Reese thing. I don't know. Coach, what you got? What you got to tell me, Coach Mack?
I'm just saying, same player, different program. So being at LSU, she couldn't be her. She was point guard. That's not her game.
That's
So
true.
now
That's
that
my
she's at TCU, she can be who she is, and we see the product of that. So kudos to Haley. I'm glad she finally got her rhythm and feeling good, setting records for herself. I think on one video she even cried because of I think she had a double double or something like that,
Her
and she's
first.
Mhm.
never her first double double, and she's never done it before. So that makes a huge difference in where you are and who you're playing for and with.
Mm,
And that's true. That was
absolutely.
a great mental adjustment for her, great excitement for her, and I'm happy for her as well that she's playing well. And TCU's 9-0, and I'll tell you what, she's one of the main reasons why they are.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of which, again, the talent being diversified, UCLA ends South Carolina's winning streak of
Mm,
43
Yes.
game winning streak. UCLA, a Pac 12 team, takes down the former champions. And again, this is all because of talent being diversified, right?
Mhm.
This is the first time in a long time I feel that we haven't seen our usuals, right? In your top 10 right now. You
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
TCU in the top 10, UCLA, USC. I mean, teams that we haven't seen a part of the top 25 in a really
mhm.
long time, or that have stayed in the top 25 consistently. So I think it's been really good. They've been playing outstanding basketball. I mean, it's been so great to watch. But Paige Buckets, okay,
Woo!
Paige Buckets, is she a first? Is she the number one draft pick as of right now?
Yes.
Ooh, you think so?
Yep. And she better come to Dallas. If not,
They could keep her.
I'm
Man, I
done.
mean,
I'm
I hope
done
she
with the
is.
wings. I'm done with the wings. That's all I
I
got to
hear that.
say.
I hear that. I hope she is, but Hannah, whew, from Notre Dame,
She's a
she is.
problem.
She's a problem. She's terrific. She is. And they have another young lady that I like, Georgia A. Moore at Kentucky.
Oh yes.
Mm.
She is tremendous too. And there's a couple of more whose names escape me right now, but Paige Bucket is she's up there. She's one or two.
She
She's
de-
one or two.
She definitely has to be. She just passed up Nafisa Collier, who just recently played in the WNBA championship game for the number 3 spot on UConn's record um, for most 20-point games in a season.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, again, this is, Big Ten, no Pac 12 anymore. Mm,
Yep.
Yeah, no Pac-12, Big Ten. Yeah. And
who
have
got
y'all been
top?
watching the SEC ACC CC Challenge on the women's and men's side?
Mm-mm.
I've been watching it. The SEC on the men's side, 14-2 with the SEC winning. Kentucky lost and Auburn lost in a dandy last night against Duke. Duke had Auburn's number, but Auburn's been playing well on the men's side. They have got this
Yeah.
Broom guy who is 6'10 freshman. Y'all need to
Mhm.
check him out. He's tremendous. And they have another freshman on their team that is really, really good. But in Alabama, they dangerous in the SEC. They are real, very, very good. Uh, but on the women's side, of course, LSU is going to be playing Stanford here in a little bit. So we're going to see what the Tigers going to do. They haven't lost a game yet. but they haven't been really playing anybody. This is going to be a big test tonight when Stanford comes into town, and Stanford is no pushover, and it's really kind of like scratching my head to see Stanford all the way on the West Coast playing in the ACC.
One other SEC team run is Mississippi State. Definitely can't
Yes,
definitely can't lead them out.
yeah. Mississippi State stepped it up last night. They beat Pittsburgh with my
Hmm.
boy uh, Jamel
Josh.
Lowe.
Oh
No,
yeah.
Jamel Lowe, who plays for Pittsburgh, but Josh played really well last night. Hubbard, you talking about?
Hmm.
Yeah, he played well last night. He had a great game. And also, the Reed guy who played at LSU, he's going to be out for the season. Uh, they beat Florida State the other day.
Hmm.
So he tore his ACL. He was only in the, came out 2 minutes in the first part of the game, tore his ACL. And that's your boy Justin Reed's son from Jackson.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. Now, real quick before we finish off the show, Coach Mac, what's going on over there with the UConn men's team,
Oh Lord.
the
Oh,
former
I'm glad you brought that up,
NCAA
Coach. I'm glad you
champions?
brought that up.
All I got to say is we can't go to Maui no more. We ain't going to Maui. We can't go to Maui no more. That's
Too
it.
many
That's it for
hoo
Maui.
girls out there, huh?
We ain't doing Maui no more. We can't.
What, Coach Mac? I mean, let the people know, for those who are unaware of what's happened with UConn.
Oh God, nothing. We lost. I mean, we went from being
3 in a row.
undefeated
They
the
lost
tournament.
to upset with Memphis and an upset with
That was a good
Colorado.
game. I give
It
I
was a
give
good.
I
Memphis was
give
a great
Memphis.
game. It was a
Yeah, I
great
give
game.
them Memphis. But now, no, we ain't going to Maui no more. We can't go.
They lost 3 in a row, right, Coach?
Yeah.
Mm.
And Danny Hurley, he lost his mind over there in Maui.
Yeah. He, he
Huh?
he said he almost tripped, but we ain't gonna get on that part. But
Yeah, yeah.
we gonna go
He
with
tripped.
he
He
tripped.
tripped out. That's what he did.
He lost his step. That's what we gonna roll with.
He
That's what he
lost
said.
his step.
Oh man. Oh man. Well, it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back. That'll be. I mean, this is a team that won the championship last season.
Yep,
As of right now, is it too early? I mean, it's still quite early. Is it too early to predict that they can make it back?
they can. I think they can. We got to regroup. We just can't go to Maui no more. That's it for now. We can't do
scratch
this again.
I
scratch that
love it.
tournament off the
Oh,
list, huh?
I
we
love
gotta
it.
go. We gotta go to some other tournament during Thanksgiving. That ain't it.
Look, Coach, you know how it is. It's cold up there in Connecticut all the time, and then they get out there in that nice warm weather, that Pacific paradise weather, and they lose their mind.
I know. We was feeling too good. We was too relaxed. We can't go to Maui no more.
You guys need to find a cold tournament place to go to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But UConn with the huge win last night versus Baylor.
we
So
did.
it's
Yep, I
not
saw that.
We
it's
turning
still
around.
it's still very early. This is all preseason. It's very, very early still. So plenty of time left to see what they can do. But as that brings us to the close of the night, I wanted to ask you guys for any closing statements of things that we should be on the lookout for as we head into the weekend and before next week's show.
I wanted to mention about Caitlin Clark and her effect on the WNBA and how much she has really brought the WNBA into like the prime time status. Uh, you know, 26% of the revenue from the WNBA was caused by Caitlin Clark, and out of every six tickets sold was the reason for Caitlin Clark being an effect on the WNBA, and it's just growing. And to get Juju coming in, you know,
Ooh, it's gonna be a tough,
right,
tough
it's going
league
to
coming
be right to get Johnson coming in from out of LSU, Flo J, and to get Hannah coming in, man, it is going to be
in.
just Page coming in. It's going to be off the hook in the WNBA with all this talent coming in there. Of course, you already got a lot of people in there And let's look at the WNBA guys. They already just added two more teams, a team in
Mm-hmm.
Toronto and a team in Portland. And we know about the team that they have in Golden State. So they just announced the new team in Toronto
Mm-hmm.
today,
Tempo.
and
The tempo. Yep. Mm-hmm.
and
The
and the team
Toronto
in Portland.
tempo.
That's
Right.
all we got.
So look, it makes more room for these ladies that are coming out of college, that the ones who got cut early, to make a roster somewhere and to not have to worry about it. But let's look at it this way, and I hope that you guys agree with me. The pay in the WNBA has got to increase. A woman cannot make $76,000 a year. It's got to be at least 200, 250, 300, maybe $500,000 for somebody to play in the league. They don't need to be playing year round, and they need to rest their body and heal so they can be ready for the season to play next year, just like the guys. And it's getting that way, but I hope it turns around real quick with this new collective bargaining agreement with the WMPA.
Yes. Also, I want to add to the WNBA. Don't forget about their 3-on-3, the Unrivaled. So
Yes.
that's starting in January. So we still got women's basketball that's coming up. So definitely check that out. We got phenomenal players in this league. Obviously, Brianna Stewart and Nafisa Collier, they're the ones that got this league together. So definitely go and support. Definitely go and watch Unrivaled, in which the schedule is already out now. So that way you can see who's playing on what team and when.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we saw some coaches that we really enjoy got the opportunity to coach some of the unrivaled teams. So it'll definitely be interesting and it'll be fun to watch. And we did have a comment come in from Star Traffic about LeBron, and Star Traffic, please return next week as we will be back with more LeBron talk, as I know Ron will never let me live it down. Anytime that LeBron is in a not so good state. But what
I'm
an
just bringing out the facts, coach. I'm just bringing out the facts, true
hey,
facts, true
hey Ron,
facts.
that's fair. That's fair.
Okay,
We
thank you.
I'm a numbers girl. I appreciate the numbers.
And look, numbers don't lie.
They don't. Film doesn't lie either.
And what you say? What doesn't lie? What else?
Film.
Oh, film doesn't lie. Okay,
Hmm.
well, it doesn't. And you saw what the film did on LeBron last night with them 41 they lost, how he was walking around with that leg limping.
Ron, you said you was done with LeBron for the night. I was just addressing a comment that came in.
Oh, okay.
We
Let
weren't
me move
going
on. I'm
back
moving
down.
on. I'm moving on.
We
I'm
that
moving
wasn't to
on.
get you back started. And the last comment,
Oh,
Jimmy
okay.
Jam
Okay.
said, "When Juju gets in the league, she'll give you some money." And boy, is she going to make a lot of it, as
Ooh.
Juju has been tearing it up, and it'll be more of that. Stay tuned. And for all of you that tuned in tonight to watch, we appreciate you. For our new audience members, welcome to Talking Hoops, where you can join us next week, where we'll be back same time on Wednesday of next week, here where you can catch us again in the same crew. We've enjoyed you guys. Thank you so much for a great show here at 102.9 The Game. It's your girl, Coach T, closing out with Talking Hoops.
Bye now.